What's up, everybody? Cowboy C3. Business as usual going on in Cowboyland this week. Man, there's really only one way to describe this year after year after year debacle that happens in Cowboyland all the time. I mean, this is normal. This is nothing new. And the offseason was all a facade. There was nothing really out of Cowboy Nation, especially from Jerry Jones. Only thing you really heard was Brian Schottenheimer talking about how this season was going to be different and they were going to do things different. And like an idiot, I believed it. I did. But the way to describe this, there's one way, and this is it.
Here we go! Yeah, here we go! Wait,
Cowboys.
Throws back of the end zone. There's CeeDee.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Cowboy Spit. This we'll sit back for about 30, 45 minutes, talk a little Cowboy news. And there's a lot to digest. Yeah, this is the normal stuff. Welcome to the circus, man. Welcome to the circus. Yearly circus every year. Training camp is a damn circus. Never about football. It can never be about X's and O's and players on the field and doing things. It always has to be some bullshit every single year. And the star of the show is always Jerry Jones. It has to be Jerry Jones. But anyway, we'll get into that in a little bit. Injury news, Brevin Spanford going to miss a week or two with an ankle injury. Trayvon Diggs, of course, is out with the knee injury, and he got fined $750,000 for not showing up for off-season activities, especially his rehab work. Tyler Guyton, bone fracture in the knee. Gonna be out 4 to 6 weeks. A lot of people thought it was an ACL. It's kind of scary the way he went down, how he came off the field. Everybody feared it was an ACL. Ended up being a slight fracture in the knee. He'll heal up, be ready, hopefully by the start of the season. Signed a bunch of veterans, signed Lael Collins this week as well to kind of fill that void until he comes back. I mean, we don't know if that void was even filled with Tyler Guyton. He didn't have a good season last year, but he looked a lot better this year. Looked like, he had been taking things very seriously in the offseason. A lot of off the field work, a lot of things to get better, right? Unlike his owner. Miles Sanders, questionable, slight knee bruise. He just probably needs a little bit of rest. Siobhan Reveal probably won't be ready for the start of the season. 3rd round pick out of East Carolina. Drafted him knowing that he had an ACL tear. He'll be ready sometime during the season. They'll get him right. Micah Parsons back in his contract talks, of course, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Tyler Smith is questionable with a knee injury as well. Said he has some knee tendonitis. They're just probably being very careful with him. Rams come into camp next week for some practices. It'll be an opportunity to really see how these Cowboys look. Offensively, they look fantastic. They've been running the ball well, throwing the ball well all training camp long so far. Not real sure if this defense just isn't very good. And there could be a reason why they're not very good. Or it could be that they've vastly improved. And they made a lot of adjustments and stuff during the offseason to try to make themselves better. Blah 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 blah. Right? That's not the news that everybody wants to talk about. And this I will say about Jerry Jones. He's a genius marketer. Like he's very smart. Because what are we doing today? What have we been doing for the last 48 hours? We've been talking about Jerry Jones, not really the Dallas Cowboys, but we've been talking about Jerry Jones. And that was kind of the topic of discussion for the last few years. And then this offseason, it got real quiet. It all started with the combine, with the players. Coaches showed up. Jerry was there, said he wasn't going to do any interviews. You know, he was just here to watch players and do some evaluations. Made some big signings. Jerry didn't really say much. You know, he did a press conference for George Pickens, you know, very quiet, you know, didn't really say much. And I made this comment on the last podcast when I said that it only took him 48 hours to fuck it up. And he has continued on this path. This is a person that has to be the center of attention no matter what. And it's never about football. It's always some kind of contract dispute. And this started way back in the day with Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin. It started way back then. Emmitt Smith held out 2 games. Cowboys went 0-2. Emmitt Smith shows back up, got some money. And there's always a game to be played, always. Recently, it's been Dez Bryant, Zeke, Dak Prescott, Zack Martin, CeeDee Lamb last year. It's always some kind of debacle where he stands in front of these cameras in training camp and he belittles people. He insults people. He's downright disrespectful. Micah Parsons made a tremendous case when he said that he wanted to, I want to be here. I want to be a Dallas Cowboy. I'm here. I'm showing leadership. I'm showing a lot of things. Jerry today said he wouldn't lose any sleep over it. But I think that that's bullcrap. And the reason I think it's bullcrap is because Micah Parsons is the first person to throw all of this back in Jerry's face. CeeDee Lamb, ultra quiet during this contract negotiation. Dak Prescott was in practicing during the contract negotiation. Zeke, Zack Martin, and Dez Bryant, not Dez Bryant, CeeDee Lamb chose to hold out of these contract negotiations. And to be honest, I don't blame them. Did it hurt them in the long run? Maybe. Everybody got off to a slow start. CeeDee Lamb got off to a better start than Zeke or Zack Martin did, but it was still a slow start for CeeDee Lamb. You just got to build that continuity, and the easiest way to build continuity is to do it in training camp. Dak chose not to do that. He chose to be in training camp throughout the negotiation. Ended up getting signed like 2 or 3 hours before the first game of the season against the Cleveland Browns last year. It's always a game. It's always, look at me. I'm going to sit here and talk shit about all these players right before I give them a whole lot of money. And it's not a really good way to do business. I mean, it's not, but Jerry's been doing it for so long. This is how he conducts his negotiations. This is what he does. And nobody should be surprised by this. Nobody should be. The only thing that's kind of surprising is that Micah Parsons decided to fight back, and hats off to Micah Parsons for doing it. The easiest way to get a billionaire's attention is to tell him you don't want to fuck with him no more. That's the easiest way to get his attention. If not, he's just going to sit in front of the cameras the whole offseason and talk shit about you. That's what he's going to do. Talk shit about Trayvon Diggs. He paid Trayvon Diggs. Trayvon Diggs is supposed to be doing things with the organization, especially after an injury that is in his contract he's supposed to do. And it cost him $750,000. He really don't like Trayvon Diggs. I tell you that now. He don't like him, right? But I've got arguably the best defensive end in the NFL. Sure, the stats may not say that. TJ Watt's stats may be a little bit better. He's been in the league longer, but they may be a little bit better, like if you average them out. But nobody faces double teams like Micah Parsons. Nobody comes off the edge as fast as Micah Parsons. Nobody is a problem like Micah Parsons. Yet you still come out and say things like, well, we didn't have him for 6 games. And Micah Parsons got a little bit upset about it. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. So Micah Parsons goes on Twitter and says that he doesn't want to be here anymore. And the way that he said it was, it had some substance to it, right? You can tell that he probably sat down with some people. This wasn't something that he just typed out one day and was like, "Hey, like, look at me, I'm gonna voice my opinion and I'm gonna say that I don't want to be a Cowboy anymore." He went down, he broke this down into stages. 2023, I tried to do a contract then. They said that, the Cowboys said that they really didn't want to talk about it then. Agent informed me that should wait for other deals to get done this year and just to see how much money that we could do. And TJ Watt got signed for $42 million a year. He said, I knew I would be leaving money on the table just to be with this team, but that's okay because I really, really, really want to be a Dallas Cowboy. Radio silence on the extension. Said in March he met with Mr. Jones and talked about leadership, and somehow the conversation turned into a contract talk just with me. He said, and I did engage with a back and forth with Jerry Jones about my contract, but at no point did I believe this was supposed to be a formal negotiation. And he informed Mr. Jones afterward that his agent would reach out. But when his agent reached out, they told him the deal was pretty much almost done. And that wasn't the case. And then he said, they reached out and talked to Stephen Jones directly, and they decided to go silent. And he said at that point, we just decided that we would allow the team to reach out to us, and we would negotiate whenever the team was ready to negotiate. And they haven't reached out. Said, me and my dad grew up loving this team, and I really wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy. But there's some confusion, and he just wants to clear things up. And then he went on to say that he no longer wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy. He said that he's tired of being, I got ridiculed in an interview because I was out for 6 games, putting myself on the line for this football organization. And it's kind of one of those things that you really have to think about, man. Like, if you're sitting there at work, right? If you're at work and everybody around you is getting raises, whether they deserve it or not, they're getting raises. And then it comes to you and you go down and sit with your manager and they're like, we're just not ready to negotiate with you yet. But this is the shit that happens every single year. And just listen to what Dak and CeeDee had to say about it.
For Mike, man, Mike knows I love him, and being in this situation, obviously playing this media game with Jerry is not the best. It's not fun. It's not recommended. But as for Micah, he knows what he brings to this table, honestly, for this team, for himself, and he should get what he deserves. And I'm not indulging in any other things that they got going, but I do want Micah to get paid.
I mean, it's an every year conversation, whether it's myself, Zack Martin, CeeDee Lamb, now Micah Parsons. It's part of it in a sense. I think Mike is doing a hell of a job with it being here. He's a great teammate, showing up, obviously not just on the field and being focused, but whether it be in the camaraderie, hanging out, dinner. He's not just doing it to sign off and say, hey, Jerry, look at me. But he wants to be out there practicing. And
at the end of the day, like, I'm here for my teammates. I'm not here to please another grown man.
And honestly, I'm glad he's not. He can't do that to himself. That's the business of it, and that's the business of a holdout. So I do think he's taken some great steps of being here. I don't know if there's a correct way to handle it. I will say that I think he deserves to get paid. Think he should get paid, and ultimately, if I'm going off of the history of what I've seen, he will get paid. Hopefully.
So Dak said it best. Going off the history, you will get paid. So why do we have to do this extracurricular bullshit every single year? Just pay the dude. You're right, man. Down, it is messy, but it's always messy when you're dealing with Jerry Jones. It is always messy. I will continue to say from now until it stops that the root of all evil with the Dallas Cowboys is not the players, it's your owner. 30 years of bullshit, 30 years. And the only common denominator that is within that 30-year stretch is Jerry Jones. That's it. It can never be just about X's and O's. Other training camps, these top tier teams, your Kansas City Chiefs, your Philadelphia Eagles, man, that hurts to say. Your Washington Commanders, your Buffalo Bills, your Baltimore Ravens, all these top tier teams in the NFL that they come out, man, they're about winning. These organizations are about winning. First and foremost, we are going to put a football team on the field. We're going to cancel out all the bullshit, and we're going to come out here and win football games. And we're going to put the right players on the field at the right times. We're going to put the right coaching staff together, and we're going to go out and we're going to put the best product we can on the football field. And that is never the case with the Dallas Cowboys. It never is. It makes it hard to be a fan just because you know it's about to be some bullshit that happens every single year. You got more big players that are coming up with contract negotiations here in the very near future. Tyler Smith, your all-pro left guard, his contract is coming up too, right? Is it going to be the same bullshit? Like, we know that dude is the most vital, might be the most vital person on the offense. If your offensive line can't block, I don't give a damn who you got at quarterback, who you got at running back, or who you got at wide receiver. If your trenches are bad, you're not going to be a good football team. And that's your leader in the trenches now. Are we going to have the same argument with him? Because you're having an argument with the best defensive player, arguably the best defensive player in the league. And we're having this same bullshit-ass conversation. So congratulations, Jerry. You have turned the conversation once around from the Dallas Cowboys being on the football field to your ass. Congratulations. It's a fucking circus. That's what it is. It is a circus. And it's always around the headmaster all the time. And until the Cowboys get this right, until they until they quit with this and just focus on football and what's on the field, we already know where this season is headed. We know exactly where it's headed. So look on the bright side. At least the talking heads saying your team going 2-15. I don't know. Jerry is one petty dude. You're right. He's a super petty dude, and it's always going to be like this. Always has to be the center of attention. But anyway, I'm tired of talking about this fool, man. Like, we already know where this is going. The one thing that is kind of painful about this whole situation is, yes, I'm super proud of Micah Parsons for stepping up and saying something to this dude and taking a stand against him. I'm super proud of that, right? However, he don't have much of a leg to stand on. I mean, let's just be honest about it. He doesn't, right? You're still under your contract. You hold out. Let's say you just hold out for this entire season. You don't play football. Next year, they put a franchise tag on you, which football has the weirdest. That is the weirdest thing ever in a player agreement, that a team can just say, we know you don't want to be here, but we'll just throw a salary cap, throw a franchise tag on you. You have to be here. We'll give you top 3 money, but you have to be here. So then that's 2 years that he's going to be here, right? A trade, you would have to trade away your organization to get Micah Parsons. You would have to take it would take 2 first-round picks, first-round pick 26, first-round pick in 27, probably a third-round pick, and probably your best player on your football team just to have an opportunity to talk to him to get him, right? Who the hell's going to do that? Sure, he's a phenomenal football player, and they're not going to trade him to a contender. I promise you that they're not going to do that. You think they're going to trade Micah Parsons to the Philadelphia Eagles? Hell no. You think they're going to trade him to the Kansas City Chiefs? Hell no. Because they're going to want something in return. I promise you that. So Jerry has the upper hand. He does. And it's all designed to be that way. That's the way it's designed. I will have the upper hand no matter what. And the simple fact that everybody can see that, and you look on social media and there's still a lot of people saying, he should just honor his contract. Would you honor your contract? If you were at work and everybody was getting a raise around you and they didn't want to give you one, would you be upset? You'd probably be on LinkedIn looking for another job right now. So quit with that bullshit too, because the dude, he's earned his money. Pay the man, stop the fucking fiasco, and let's just concentrate on football and making this team better. Brian Schottenheimer got his hands full, but he knew that when he took this job, though. He did. Anyway, tired of talking about that fool. Your wide receiver position has become an interesting topic in training camp. Got a bunch of receivers that look good, man. CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, of course, are going to be your number one and your number two receivers. And they've become, probably the best, if not the second best duo in football. And there was a fantastic move in the offseason by the same dude that I just got through talking shit to about. It's a fantastic move. From 3 down is where it gets interesting. Now, it depends on how many wide receivers that this team keeps. It could be anywhere from 5 to 7 wide receivers that they keep once training camp is over with. Jalen Tolbert, I feel like maybe he reached his peak. Like Jalen Tolbert is the receiver that he is going to be. But Jonathan Mingo has come into this camp and he has got something to prove. He is balling. He looks fantastic. He's making catches. He gives you the opportunity to where he can line up as an outside receiver and CeeDee Lamb can maneuver more in the slot, which is very, very dangerous for any football team to face a CeeDee Lamb in the slot. He can also play the slot. He gives you a different dynamic. He's a big, strong guy that is very good with the ball in his hands. He had a bad start in Carolina to his career. High draft pick, never really panned out to be much in Carolina, kind of lost his way in the depth chart. But the situation in Carolina is different. Kind of like the situation for George Pickens is different. Pittsburgh never really had anybody that could get him the ball. He had a one-arm Ben Roethlisberger his rookie year that really couldn't get the ball down the field. And then last year it was Justin Fields or it was Russell Wilson at the end of the season, and they had a pretty good connection going on. Him and Dak look phenomenal. The deep ball looks great. Looks like the deep ball is back in Dallas, and that's a good thing. Kevontae Turpin is absolutely going to be on the team strictly because he is a special teams demon. He's the best kick returner in football. He'll be there. But any of these other guys, Jalen Brooks, Ryan Flanoy, Milroe Cropper, Trayshawn Holden, who's having quietly a good camp, and Josh Kelly, Paris Campbell. I was about to say Paris Hilton. Paris Campbell is on injured reserve. Probably won't play this season. This is a good group. 1, 2, depends on who your third receiver is. Turpin, seems like they're getting him involved more in the offense. Seems like he's carrying the ball more than anything. He did a lot of that stuff at TCU. This is an interesting position battle to watch because I'm super interested in who's going to be the number 3 receiver. I think Mingo has an opportunity. But Tolbert and Dak Prescott have worked a lot together all offseason for multiple years. He's got a connection with him, but that connection with Mingo is getting a whole lot better. And it's surprising. Say every year is the Cowboy year. I don't know about every year. I don't know about that. But I'm interested to see, one, how they use George Pickens in the regular season. We all know how they're going to use CeeDee Lamb. I think that the addition to George Pickens gives you an offense where you cannot double team any one of them. You can't double team the outside receivers. Jake Ferguson just signed a 4-year, $53 million extension. Congratulations to him. He looks a lot better in camp. He'll be catching some passes too. Jaden Blue coming out of the backfield and catches the ball. This offense has a chance to be super dynamic, as long as the front trenches can hold up, and we'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that on another episode. But this wide receiver room, 1 and 2 is solidified. Kevontae Turpin is solidified. Those other spots, those other 2, possibly 3 spots, that's up for grabs. It is. And it's going to take, and I truly and honestly believe that you will see the cream start to rise to the top. Who's going to take a hold of that position? Who's going to take a hold of a lot of positions with the Dallas Cowboys next week when the Rams come into camp? The Rams are they're a super solid football team. They're one of the teams that in the preseason, they're picked to be at the top of that NFC race, right? You'll get to see a lot of how the Cowboys stand. You'll get to see if this defense can hold up. You'll get to see if they can actually stop the run this year. You brought in some new additions. They feel like with Matt Eberflus' scheme that they'll be a lot better with stopping the run. But these Cowboy running backs, I don't know if they're that good, right? And I don't know if the offensive line for the Cowboys is that good, but they look very good in training camp. And I don't know if it's just that much better or if the defense is still lacking with the ability to stop the run. But the Rams are going to test that out. They're also going to test out this offensive line with Jerry Verse getting after the quarterback. You don't have that person in camp right now because that person is over on the sideline in a contract dispute, right? You don't have that type of person that can provide that type of pressure. So this will be something new to him. Say Mingo, he said Mingo was crazy. Listen, I did shit all over Mingo. You're absolutely right, but it sure looks like he's proven himself this time. People change. You understand what I'm saying? I don't ride anybody, kid cowboy. I just tell the truth. If the dude looks better in practice, he looks better in practice. Congratulations. He's trying to earn his money, trying to earn a spot on the team. I mean, that's what you do. You may not have started off well, but you get better. That's what you're supposed to do. You will see a lot from the Rams once they come into camp. You'll see a lot about the Cowboys when they come into camp. You will. And to me, that should be the focus of Cowboy training camp and not a Micah Parsons contract dispute. But once again, your owner make it about that. So Brian Schottenheimer came on the mic today. He said that I will not discuss this Micah Parsons stuff. He said this is going to be a long, boring training camp if you just continue to ask me questions about Micah Parsons and his contract dispute. He wants to talk about football. They had family beach day today. Said the offense is just about ready to go. They've completely installed the new offense that they're going to run. You'll see a lot of motion. You'll see a lot of the quarterback under the center, which is something that they haven't done in a few years. You'll see a lot of different things, right, with this offense. And it's all getting back to the basics, running the football, playing good defense. And that seems to be the key to the focus of the Dallas Cowboys and not a contract dispute. So Kid Cowboy said the number 11 needs to be gone. I'm interested to know why. I really am. I'm interested to know why you say the number 11 needs to be gone. You always seem to have some really, really, really interesting takes. Some really interesting takes. Nobody's backtracking anything. I'm asking you a direct question. And if you'd like to call in, I can open up the phone line so you can call in because I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Because I think it's kind of crazy that somebody would say that probably the best player on the team needs to be gone. And we'll get this phone line opened up right now. And I'll put the number on the screen. More than welcome to call in. I'm interested to hear your take because you seem to want to take over the show in the comments, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to do it. Said he hasn't been a top 5 defensive player in the last 4 years, and that is insane. Insane. So please, call the number. Interested to hear your take about it. Micah Parsons has absolutely been a top 5 defensive player in the NFL in the last 4 years. If you break it down within his last 4 years and you take Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, and everything, and all the premier defensive ends in the league that have gotten paid, his numbers absolutely compare to theirs, or they're better. Nobody faces more double teams than Micah Parsons. Not one player. One player. He's never been a top 15 or 16 sack person. I want you to use Google, and I want you to Google it, and I want you to come back and say that I'm sorry, Cowboy C3, I was wrong. That's what I want you to do. But you can just call the number. Anyway, get back to the basics. Run the damn ball, play good defense. That's what the Cowboys are going to try to do. You need your best players on the field, though. You do, especially on defense. Defense seemed to be the weak point last year. Defensive line could not stop the run. They did a better job towards the end of the season. Linebacking core was semi-decent. Secondary needed some help. One guy you were looking at that maybe provide you a little bit of help was Kalen Carson. He hyperextended his knee. He'll be out for a period of time, 4 to 6 weeks. Deron Bland finally showed back up in practice, but your other corner is up for grabs. Your safeties are decent. They're not the best in the NFL, but they're not the worst. How are you going to make this better? What you have to do is you have to provide a pass rush. As Araku doing a good job in training camp, you need Micah Parsons on the other end to provide it. Dante Fowler looks pretty good. You need number 11 on the other end to provide that pass rush, right? If he's consistently double teamed, that automatically frees somebody up to get somebody in the quarterback's face. Somebody free. This is basic football 101. That's all it is. Stop playing games and sign the man and give him his ducats. Pretty simple. But now, right, since you waited so long, you're going to have to pay him. You're going to have to maneuver some contracts around. You're going to have to do a whole lot of things to pay this dude $40 million a year, when you could have signed him back in 2023 or last year for 30, 35 at the most. It's just bad business. That's all it is. Said he's 5th in 4 years. So he is a top 5 pass rusher. So you Googled it and proved yourself wrong. And 11 and 12 sacks a year is bad. He's never led the league. Never led the league in sacks. Who has? Who led the league in sacks? Said he's a poor tackler. I don't know what the fuck you watching, Kid Cowboy. I really don't. I have no idea what you're watching, because anybody will tell you that everything that you're saying, poor tackler, doesn't provide a good pass rush, 11, 12 sacks a season is trash, is insane. That is insane. 12 sacks a year is bad. Since when? Like, this is a crazy, crazy conversation that you're trying to have right now, and you're not going to win it, because it's obvious and it's clear that you don't have football, that you don't know football. And I have promised, my New Year's resolution in 2025 is not to talk to people about football things that don't understand the game. I refuse to do it. So that's it. That's my New Year's resolution in this July, and I'm not gonna do it. I promise you I'm not. So the Cowboys, once again, they have to do something to quiet this noise. And the best thing to do is just to play football. And that's a good thing, because next week they start the preseason. You got the Rams coming into camp. You got preseason game 1. You get to see these backup players. You get to see these guys that are trying to make this football team, and you'll begin to see things start to separate themselves, right? I'm ready for it. I'm excited about it. I just want this to be a season where we concentrate on football. It's gotten off to a bad start, but that does not mean that it has to end that way. It doesn't. It doesn't. And I hope you guys agree with that. I really do. But anyway, next week, Rams will be in camp. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the running back room, which is another interesting position battle, because you got some guys that really have taken steps to become better football players. Deuce Vaughn being number 1. Pulled his hamstring a little bit, but you see him running a lot with the 1s and the 2s. Got to remember, his offensive line coach in college is now the offensive line coach with the Dallas Cowboys. If anybody knows how to scheme for him and get him open, that's the guy that knows how to do it. Get him into space, let him be dangerous, let him be elusive, let him be quick, and just do things. Jaden Blue, kind of moving up, kind of looks like he may take over that running back 1 spot. Home run hitter from college. The only thing that was his knock in college, and the reason that he wasn't drafted higher, was because they said he fumbled too much. Hasn't fumbled yet in training camp. So obviously that's something he's been working on. Said he was lazy. Don't look too lazy to me. We'll see, right? So interesting topics coming up. We'll try to stay away from this fiasco. Hopefully this contract gets signed, all this shit goes away. Or Micah Parsons could really, really, really not want to be here, and it could just become a tornado. Like, this is messy. man down was right. This is really messy, and this has the potential to get even messier. And hopefully it doesn't do that. So I'm just waiting to see how my Saints look. I think that defense will surprise a lot of people. Saints have an interesting thing going on. I'm interested to see, one, how Kellen Moore chooses the quarterback that's going to play. They made an interesting choice with the quarterback from Louisville. You still have, what's his name? Spencer Rattler. You still have him. It'll be interesting. I'm just looking forward to football in general. Like, it's back. This is the last weekend where there will be no football until February. And this is phenomenal. This is the best time of the year. This is the time of year that I think a lot of us wait on. And I can't wait. Like, this is going to be fun. So Kellen Moore was looking like an actual coach. He's happy about that. That's good, man. I'm happy about that. Still haven't got a phone call from Kid Cowboy 66. I'm still waiting on that phone call. I guess it's not going to come. But anyway, so I'm at my time. We're at 36 minutes. We'll be back live next Saturday. We'll talk a little bit more about this contract dispute. And hopefully we'll talk about the end of it, right? And we'll talk about the running back position and how the Cowboys are going to maybe do that. And we'll also talk more about the Rams. Well, we'll talk about the Rams being the camp, of course, but then we'll start to kind of go into the way the season will go. We'll maybe do a pregame show before the first preseason game, but we'll definitely talk after the game and see how everybody performed. Really interested to see Joe Milton play. Saw Trey Lance play Thursday night. He looked pretty good, to be honest. He looked really good. We'll see. We'll just see how it goes. But anyway, Mel said he just like football. He's not a fan of any team. Mel has a interesting way to evaluate his football stuff, and we'll see Mel's evaluation more when we get into this fantasy team. His fantasy teams always seem to be very interesting, but then he'll make it right because when he was the president of the league, he would just okay all his trades just to make his team better. Mel has an interesting fantasy philosophy, if that's what you want to call it. But anyway, all right, y'all. Cowboy C3, we will be back next Saturday, and then we'll start to break this whole thing down. We'll start to kind of turn the corner and go into the way that we'll do the regular season like that. Cowboy 66, man. You make sure you call in on Saturday because I'm interested to see where you get all this stuff from. All right, fellas. Y'all take it easy. I'll see y'all soon. All right. Peace.